Yeah, man. So James Gunn came out this week and had some little announcements.
I thought he was. I thought he was happily married.
Came out with some announcements. Although,
Got it.
I'm not sure that there was. I mean, it's definitely not like enough for like a comic news episode. But there was some little tidbits in there. It's weird that they like confirmed yet again that Pattinson will not be the DCU Batman. And that's probably because like they would like for like the Brave and the Bold to come out. You know?
Again, I thought that Batman was in a committed relationship. I'm so confused about all these coming outs.
No, man, he keeps having the little boy sidekicks. You didn't piece that together?
I mean, it's kind of weird, they're like sons
Yeah.
or whatnot.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I never got that, but all right, whatever.
Yeah, they call the Catholic priest father also. Yeah, but no, James Gunn, he said that Brave and the Bold is they're casting for it right now. Lanterns and Supergirl are both shooting right now, and they're doing screenings for Superman. He did also say they may do some very light reshoots for Superman. Just like a couple of shots where he was like, we could possibly make like this effect look better, or this fight scene, like a couple of these hits could look better. And those kind of reshoots, I think, are great.
Yeah, that's fine. It's the whole, let's maybe take this scene out, repurpose this scene, and then add in another fight scene completely here.
Yeah.
Those are the reshoots that I don't really jive with.
Yeah, if you were to do something like, I don't know, if you wanted to like remove a villain from a movie and like replace him with a completely different villain and like a whole like side arc.
How sidewinder of you to say that.
Yeah, I was hoping you would pick that up. It's a pun. Yeah. It's funny when you do it.
Speaking of all those James Gunn announcements, he had like a specific itinerary, didn't he? Like 2 movies a year.
Yeah.
Like a TV show, animated thing.
I think he said a live action show, an animated show, and then 2 movies was like their kind of wheelhouse. And like next year is going to be what, Supergirl and Clayface? Or is Clayface this year?
I think that's next year, right?
Okay, I thought, yeah. Okay, so yeah, Supergirl and Clayface. And I think The Authority got pushed back.
Right.
The Waller show. Lanterns should be next year, I think.
Yeah, because they've started filming that. We've seen like the first set photo or whatever released earlier today.
Yeah. So that's going to be, next year is going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And the year after that too, because the year after that, we theoretically will be getting Spider-Man 4, fucking Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And Brave and the Bold, and maybe the Batman 2.
And the Batman 2. And yeah, like it's going to be a crazy schedule, not just in 27, but also in 26, like.
If you're James Gunn, how do you go about that? I mean, we've talked at length about this, but do you come out with Brave and the Bold in like, I don't know, February, and then you wait and hit like a October, November for Batman 2?
Nah, fuck that. You drop them both the same day. And you go see one, I go see the other, and then we come back and do a joint review.
Would be awful. That's like the worst plan ever.
I thought it had legs. Okay, whatever.
No, okay.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll consider it. Okay, I'm done. Yeah.
But no, I think that probably is the move. Like, you release them at completely different ends of the year. Because it's Batman, I don't see them releasing a Batman movie early in the year. Like, I think the earliest would be May. To me, that sounds like a good time frame for Brave and the Bold. And the Halloween season always feels right for like the Matt Reeves Batman verse type movie.
Yeah, I agree. I think for those movies that aren't DCU canon, I think they need to come up with like a DC Elseworlds like kind of title page to throw up at the beginning.
Yeah.
Just to like designate for the audience, like, hey, this is its own thing. And I think that's important. The really interesting, meaty thing from the James Gunn reveal was truly that he sort of admitted, like, yes, I want to build to an Avengers Endgame type scenario. He basically flat out said, like, yes, we have, like, our long-term goal is to be able to give you that same kind of thing. And here's the thing. If they can deliver on that, they'll be doing something that most people aren't sure Marvel could do. Again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there is somebody out there that thinks that they didn't knock that shit out of the park, but they're a fool. Like,
yeah. I mean, you see people out there who maybe they do feel this way, but they have disparaging things to say about Endgame or, whatever. And you can nitpick Infinity War and Endgame to death if you want to, but I mean, I think that as a whole, like a 23 movie collective 10-year endeavor type deal, I don't really think that you can look at that and complain about some of the minor things that they maybe could have done better. As a whole, those first 3 phases really did a great job for uncharted territories,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's one of the greatest feats in cinema. And I don't think that it's ever been replicated. I mean, and it may never be replicated, unfortunately. But I hope it is. I hope it will.
I feel that, like, James Gunn saying that about him wanting to build to an Endgame level type event in the DCU, I feel like that's natural, Like, if you have all these characters and all these IPs, that kind of should be the long-term goal for something like that. For me, the question is, who do you go with for that big bad? Is Darkseid too on the nose?
Yeah, I mean, I had two questions before we moved on from this, and that's one of them. Is like, given the state of the DCEU and like how hard Zack Snyder always really struggled to get Darkseid off the ground. I mean, technically, we never saw Darkseid in the theater,
Yeah.
There's also the Thanos comparison, So you have to separate him from Thanos, which that won't be hard.
Yeah.
Do they make Justice League War a Justice League War type thing? But on that same note, do you keep these characters apart that long? So I don't know if you can get to that in that team up. You know what I mean?
Well, especially since, from what little we know about the Superman movie, there's already some sort of superhero team up already established.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have to establish the Justice League, and they have to do that in a competent way. I would stay away from Darkseid there. Like, I would make that first Justice League team up movie, Brainiac or, what is it, Legion of Doom or whatever.
Legion of Doom, yeah.
Yeah.
Crime Syndicate.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go straight Crime Syndicate, but especially with how the multiverse has been perceived, who knows by the time they get to that point. But that'd be a great like second movie. But I think I think you have to land on Darkseid eventually. Yeah. But I mean, by then we're gonna be like 10 years out from from Endgame or more, So I think by then, you could do something like that. Like I said, you have to separate Darkseid from Thanos, but that's not hard. They're both like the same shape of creature, but that's about it, know.
Yeah, same shape, same imposing, vaguely alien-looking, swole people,
What I want them to truly, like, towards the end of the DC universe, I would absolutely love if we could get a true like Dark Knight Returns. I mean, it doesn't have to be one for one, but like that type of story, where you kind of can see what happens after, in like the aftermath of the league. I think something like that would be incredible.
It would. I think about something like that, and so you would want to do that within the DCU and not as an Elseworld project?
I think I think for it to have the weight that the comic and the animated movie have, you'd want to see it be the actors that played these characters in the DC universe.
I guess the only issue with that would be the same reason that the Dark Knight Returns isn't canon, and that is it does put like an expiration date and a period on those characters.
That's true, but the thing about live action is that happens anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever they're about to cast for Brave and the Bold, David Cornsweet, that they're gonna get older.
Yeah.
In 20 years.
So you're talking about way down the line.
Yeah. I'm talking about like, we've already made our 3-4 Justice League movies, like, and like, like we're gonna beat Darkseid, and then instead of making 2 whole phases that suck, maybe we do something like this. I'm not saying anyone would do that, but that is definitely a choice you could make.
Yeah, that is something that could happen. I don't know where you get that from.
Yeah, it's weird, but
yeah, that's like going to the mall, shopping with your credit card, and then one day you find out that bitch is denied.
Yeah,
you don't run out of credit.
Yeah.
I had something else to say about that thought you said about the Dark Knight Returns and them doing it like later on down the line. I think that, obviously that would be a tremendous idea. What would you feel though about the implications for Dick Grayson?
Yeah, so we would just leave all of that out. I said not a 1-to-1.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the other problem with that, and yeah, because you said not a 1-to-1, but one of the main crutches in that story is the reason Bruce retires is because Jason died.
Yeah,
and
they're going to need to do that way before.
Well, in the DCU, if Jason dies, they're going to bring him back as the Red Hood.
Right.
And this is obviously before the Red Hood was written. And so I feel like you have to find another reason for Bruce to hit that retirement point.
I honestly think you could go, we're going to be separated far enough from Civil War by then. Mm-hmm. I think you could go that kind of route where like the government outlaws the superheroes. And that'd be perfect because like you have that build to a crescendo at the end of the movie and fucking Soups rips Oliver's arm off.
Oh my gosh.
And have that the moment where it was like,
yeah,
we give up.
Yeah,
let the Wookiee win.
I just realized I surrendered.
yeah. It's like, you know what? Actually,
I don't really believe in this cause.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah,
I'm actually good if we just give up right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go start an ostrich farm.
I didn't know we was ripping people's arms off.
Yeah, I thought we was just playing on.
Yeah. I thought we was all still friends.
Yeah. It's called the Justice League, not the Justice Friends. Oh, okay.
You got it, big dog.
Yeah.
You said the prison was this way?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me go. Big Mackie call said I should turn myself in. But my other question, though, before we move on from this is, where the fuck is Wonder Woman?
Bruh. Somebody mentioned this, and I think James Gunn replied to it in like a tweet or something. I'm not too certain. But they did mention Wonder Woman, and people have just been theorizing about her role and what she's going to be and what she's going to do in the DCU because there's been zero mention yet. We got 2/3 of the Trinity, and obviously, clearly, Wonder Woman is missing for whatever reason. I do not know.
My estimate is that Warner Brothers Discovery at the start of all this was still tied up into some either contract negotiations. Will they, won't they, with Gal Gadot and a third movie? Because that franchise, even though the second one, that franchise is viewed as successful. They obviously like Gal Gadot. They've never come out and said, like, hey, she's not going to continue on as Wonder Woman. Which is weird because they have said like 100 times that Pattinson isn't going to be the Batman.
Yeah.
So I got to wonder if maybe there's still something there. Like, what's her name that made the Barbie movie?
Like the director of it?
Yeah.
What was her name?
Greta Gerwig.
Okay.
I know there was some talk about maybe her coming in to do the third one. But I don't know. I don't know what they have going on. To me, I think you blank slate. I never thought Gal Gadot was excellent as a Wonder Woman. There's a couple scenes that I like, and they're all in the Snyder Cut. You know.
Yeah. With all due respect to Gal Gadot, like she was never really my first pick for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But I was just happy to see a live action Wonder Woman. And I didn't think that I liked her portrayal of Wonder Woman more than I like Margot as Harley, you know?
Yeah, well, that bar is in hell, sir. I actually like Margot in James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's used pretty well there. But they have to bring in Wonder Woman at some point, right? And
they should go with Absolute. Big ass motherfucking sword, dog.
What if they went Absolute with all of them? Who are you gonna get to play Batman? Jack Reacher?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, like that's Henry Cavill. That'd be so fucked.
Hey, that would be extremely fucked. I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could watch that.
I mean, Batman can't be fucking hulking over Superman.
Right.
Although, you know, I know I'm in the minority here, but like, I've always been like, why does Superman have to be? I understand that he's historically drawn this way, but like, why does Superman got to be ripped AF? Like, his power doesn't come from that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I mean, with Kryptonian biology, we do know that when he's kept from the sun or hit with red radiation, that shit is like catabolic.
It shrinks them, yeah.
So, I mean, if the yellow rays fucking, you know, is hypertrophy to that motherfucker, then why not?
That's true.
And plus, I would laugh my ass off watching someone like Huey from The Boys fucking beating up Darkseid or whatever.
That can work for Mark, though, for Mark Grayson.
Yeah, and even Mark Grayson in his suit, he has like...
He's toned.
Yeah.
Well, in the new season, he's kind of, you know, he done buffed up a little bit.
Yeah, he's been training. Yep.
So.
Yeah. There was one thing I wanted to mention, just really quick. And you may have known this. I just learned this like an hour ago. Did you know that John Bernthal is Kurt Angle's nephew?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That shit blew my mind because I was like, what are the fucking odds of that happening? So, yeah, that's crazy. It's almost crazy. It's like back in 2016 when me and Kevin went to Chicago WizardCon, John Bernthal was supposed to be there with the Daredevil cast and crew to do, you know, like meet and greets and signings and whatnot. But John Bernthal didn't show. And so because he didn't show, I have this plaque out there in the hallway, this Daredevil plaque, that's signed by Elodie Young, who plays Elektra, and Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil. There's a spot on there for John Bernthal to sign it because he played the Punisher, obviously. But because he didn't show, I don't have his autograph on that plaque, so now it looks incomplete. There's a fun story for you guys there. Well, homies, with that being said, I think it is time to welcome you guys back to a very special friendly neighborhood episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I am here with my good friend, my buddy, the world's greatest co-host. It is in his contract, the homie Caleb.
What's going on, everybody? I actually just got back from a convention this past weekend, and then I'm leaving in the morning to go to another one. But I got to go to Connooga this past weekend. I'm going to be at Coastal Con in Wilmington, North Carolina this coming up weekend. So I have been making the rounds. I got to hang out with the homie Kevin with the homie Supreme OG over the weekend. And we had a good fun time. We played a pickup game of D&D.
He told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was he grabbed the fighter.
Of course.
Surprise. And I was a swashbuckler rogue with like a gambling problem.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was hilarious because like every single thing that would happen, I'd be like, all right, so I bet you a gold that like whatever. And the crazy thing is, like, this random guy that was at the table, the very beginning, there's these people across the bar from us, and they're like raiders or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're like being rowdy and like messing with the staff and everything. And like, of course, Oz's character is like, I'm going to go take care of this for you. And I'm like, okay, I got a gold that we have to bail him out. Any takers? And like, this guy who doesn't know us at all, it was actually his first time playing D&D.
Oh.
He was like, I'll see that bet. And I was like, yeah, he doesn't know him in real life because no one else is willing to take that bet. And of course, we did have to bail him out. And I actually, during the fight, swung by and got my 1 gold from the guy. I used my bonus action to take the 1 gold.
Son of a bitch. That's great.
Well, if he dies, I don't want to be seen robbing corpses. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that would be very morally, corrupt of you.
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
yeah, it's much better you do it that way.
Had to do the right thing.
Yeah, of course.
But it was fun, man. We played a bunch of tabletop games and hung out and ate some good ramen. I got some dope Breaking Bad art.
That's right. I seen you post that in the group chat.
Yeah, I'll bring it on the future episode. I want to talk about the artist a little bit, maybe for a cold open, because the guy that I got it from, he's actually the same person that does that the Shield art.
Oh,
that I have up. It's Shane and Vic. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't know about this guy is he actually, he's a small time actor as well, but he's done art for like a lot of people, and he actually went on to the set of the Shield when they did their 10th anniversary.
Yeah. And
he actually did art of all of them together and got to go on the set and everything. And,
damn.
Yeah. He has a Green Arrow that he did for Stephen Amell.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. And he also has a Batman animated series that he did for Kevin Conroy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's got a ton of stuff, man. Like Supernatural. I mean, like even like just like crazy kind of off the wall stuff. Like he's got some Buffy. He's got some Andy Griffith Show stuff. Like I mean, just the range is pretty crazy of what you can find. He's got some Ninja Turtles, some Dragon Ball Z. I mean, yeah, he had a Frieza that I almost got, man. But the Breaking Bad piece that I got is Walt and Jesse in the yellow suits in the lab, and then Gus is standing up on the railing above them with the knife, and it's like got blood just pouring off of it. I loved it, so that's what I ended up grabbing.
Yeah, that guy, he's a very talented artist. When I saw that pic, I was like, damn, that is clean.
Yeah, he did a really great job, and really cool dude. I stood there and talked to him for a while, and we talked about like how underrated the Shield is, so... I'm always happy to talk about that.
Yeah, I was like, not you talking about the Shield.
Yeah.
That's just another day.
Just another day. We saw a really good Kelsier cosplay when we were there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, that was also in the group chat, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he did a really good job. I saw him like from across the convention center and just like scurried over immediately. I was like, hey, so.
Hell yeah. Glad you guys had a great time out there. I was, part of me was wondering, should I be on the phone with the lawyers on the committee to make sure that you and Kevin didn't conspire to do anything?
We just put out an episode. You're like, what the fuck?
I'm on the phone with the committee immediately. Get this shit taken down now.
I was just telling what it's about, or it's probably spirals out of control immediately. Especially because the homie Oz was also with us.
Oh yeah, then definitely.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes tonight, I do want to say this. We talked a little bit over the weekend, Ace here and myself, and we have figured out what we're going to be doing for like the next 2 months. So we have a lot coming up. As a matter of fact, about this time next week, we're either going to be very happy or very sad. Coming up, we are going to be reviewing every single episode individually. Well, the first 2 episodes of Born Again, I think, come out together. But yeah, so we are going to do a weekly Born Again episode where we were going to review that piece by piece. We are hoping that it is as dense and amazing as we're hoping it is. And as we're anticipating, and we should have a lot of good content on that. Also coming up is we have season 2 of Andor. If you haven't checked out season 1, you've had several years to do so, but I encourage you to take that journey now, and we are about to do that. You have not seen it, right?
I've not, so that felt like a shot at me, but I'll take it.
Take it however you want to take it. And I'm going to be rewatching it. And man, I know we talked about doing it in 2 parts. I don't know. I'm gonna let you watch like the first couple episodes, and then you just kind of tell me if you think we need to do it a little more piecemeal than that, because they have confirmed there's gonna be 4 arcs in season 2. So I think they're gonna do like, these episodes are an hour long. It's 12 hours both seasons.
Oh yeah. That's a lot of content. I mean, I know that our plates might be already a little full, but it just feels natural. Should we do like a recap review also of Rogue One at the end?
Yeah, we could. Well, also, you mean like after season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should, because like season 2 should go right into Rogue One. So yeah, and then somebody has to pick a new one for the throwback right after that.
Yeah, and actually, we need to take an interlude from our throwback and do the homie, I believe it was the homie Chris, who submitted his throwback. So yeah, we have to do that somewhere in between all this as well.
Yeah. So we are probably going to be putting out 2 episodes a week for a while, next couple months. So,
and then of course also there's the Invincible season 2 finale review that we have.
Yep.
There is the Thunderbolts that will be right around the corner by the time all this is starting to wrap up.
Yeah. About the time that we get to finally be like, oh, yeah, we get to take a break, then we're going to have Thunderbolts, which is a whole premiere.
Yep. So it's going to be a fun time. So I hope that you guys are into Daredevil and Andor and all the other shit in between.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be probably the most in-depth Star Wars coverage we've done. So, and then we're gonna deep dive into some Born Again. So we got all the content coming out. But tonight, folks, after a 30-minute cold open, we're here to talk to you about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yes. Well, we're here to talk to you about a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't know how friendly yours is. Your Spider-Man may be an asshole.
He might sell coke.
He might sell coke and be a superhero. I don't know.
Like Tyrone Biggums.
Well,
he doesn't sell it.
That's true.
He just consumes it.
Yeah. He'd be bad at the business.
Yeah. Awful.
He will fight the drug dealers, but then take the drugs
and then do them.
Do them.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, James Gunn, we either should or should not tell him about the existence of Snowflame.
Oh, okay. I was like, this is a weird segue. I don't know where this is going. It's like, speaking of Tyrone Biggums and cocaine, James Gunn. Do you know something I don't know? He should totally put Snowflame in Creature Commando season 2.
That would be great. For those you don't know, Snowflame is an actual DC Comics villain. Believe it or not, he didn't last long for whatever reason. But his powers, he would gain superpowers when he did cocaine.
Which sounds like a James Gunn villain. I'm just saying.
If James Gunn put Snowflame in a movie or TV show, everyone watching it would be like, oh, he just made this up for the show. Yeah. No.
He could be a Lobo villain.
Oh, yeah.
That would be awesome.
Lobo just does all the drugs before Snowflame can do them. Yeah. That's how he beats them.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I love how it took us exactly 2.8 seconds before we went off the rails.
Completely off the rails.
There is no cocaine in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man
that we know of.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So this actually just wrapped up, this past week?
Yep.
The release schedule for these episodes was weird as fuck.
It's going to be similar with Born Again. Born Again is going to release 2 episodes at a time, twice, at least.
Oh, are they?
Yep. I think it's 5 and 6 are going to be at the same time.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be like 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then 7, 8, and then probably 9 and 10?
Probably. They haven't released the full schedule yet. So.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. But this did some weird shit. It was like, here's the first 2, and then here's 3 more, and then here's 2 more, and then here's 3 more, or however they did it. And I was like, I mean, keep them subscriptions going, guys. Like,
Yeah, it was very bizarre. I don't understand how they come up with their model for releasing the episodes.
yeah. So, what's your overall thoughts on the show?
I enjoyed this a whole lot more than I thought I would, and this does need to be said. I think that part of my enjoyment actually comes from the fact that we have gotten so much Spider-Man content over the past few years. I mean, even if you take all of the Spider-Man comics out of it, right? Let's say that you're not a Spider-Man comic book reader. There's still so many Spider-Man movies and appearances, live action, that we've got of him over the past 6-7 years. There is the Spider-Verse movies as well that we've gotten. There's the Spider-Man video games that we've gotten. And so there's just so much Spider-Man content. And then there's just also so many retellings of Peter's story. This show just kind of capitalized on doing something different. And for the most part, I was cool with it. It was a little too after school, especially for me at times. There was just a lot of teen drama, and it just felt like a lot sometimes. But I'll be honest, as a whole, I thought that this show was actually pretty darn nifty. I had a good time with it. There are certain aspects of it that I do have to deduct some points for, but we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. But as a whole, man, I really enjoyed this show. What do you think?
Oh no. There's nothing in it for me to hate, right? I'll be honest. You're gonna hear me speak a lot in the same way I felt about Brave New World, honestly. Except the internet doesn't seem to be unfairly hating the shit out of this. There's nothing in here to hate. It goes from mid to excellent in some spots. I wish there was a lot more excellent and a lot less mid. I think it plays it incredibly safe most of the time. Like, I'll say that a lot of it doesn't necessarily seem fresh. Also, full spoilers, by the way. Full tilt.
Spoiler.
Great. You added a thing. Amazing. So I'll give an example since we just gave the spoiler warning here. It's like, in all of the live action Spider-Man movies with Marvel, there's a recurring thing. There's always a Joel Schumacher superhero suit upgrade. Right? Which I love.
Yeah.
Maybe Joel conditioned me to love that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do. I love it. The Iron Man movie is the same way. He always gets a suit upgrade. And then, but like the suits always do something different, Whereas in this, it's basically like you just bought a skin on Fortnite or whatever. Like, you didn't change nothing. It just looks different.
Yeah.
And that's just an example of like where it's very safe and it doesn't feel super innovative or, this is very much like you just picked up a random Spider-Man comic, Well, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But to me, it felt like a very extended What If episode.
It is. It's like the best What If episode, even though it's not meant to be that.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like a What If premise that they just kept going with. And I don't know what the official word is or ruling. I don't know what Marvel says, but you can't convince me otherwise. They had to completely repurpose this show from the ground up once they realized that they couldn't do a Tom Holland, Peter Parker origin story like they originally said they were going to do.
Agreed. Because they definitely meant for it to be that originally.
Yep.
On this note, and this should have been earlier, did you see the news that came out that Disney cannot actually put Spider-Man in any live action shows?
I did not see that.
Yeah, the television, like the non-animated television rights, are still 100% Sony's.
So it's only the movie appearances.
Yeah, and then of course the animated.
Right.
I don't know that Tom Holland can even voice Spider-Man in the animated show.
Ooh.
Yeah. which is crazy. Like, and that also means, like, we already gave the spoiler warning. That means that he can't pay the favor back and show up in Born Again, which sucks.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I mean, I'm sure we can still see Matt in the next Spider-Man.
Oh, I mean, we already got that. He was already in.
Yeah,
he was in the last one.
But like, you know,
as Daredevil.
Yeah, more than just a really good lawyer.
Yeah, really. He's a really. I mean, he's a really good lawyer.
This show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I walked in here with like completely zero expectations, and here's what I say. Right, if you guys are looking for like something that is more tried and true to Peter's origin, or like, you know, the comic book stories that you remember reading as a kid, or anything recently, this would be nothing like that. They just completely kind of freestyle the whole thing and do their own thing. And again, if I hadn't gotten so much Spider-Man content over the past few years, that would really irk me, because why the fuck can't you just give me something that is familiar? And I think that's kind of where I understand your point, but I kind of disagree a bit. This show is safe in terms of like the risk being low or the stakes being low. But man, do they take some wild swings in terms of doing something very different damn near every chance they get.
See, I think the opposite of you on that. I have seen so much Spider-Man over the last few years that now I'm like, give me something different. You know, I actually want more differenter.
Oh, even more different.
I want even more differenter.
Wow.
Because my thing is, and this is where it's really tough, right? Because this show could quasi be like their attempt to recreate like the old Spider-Man cartoon. Not from the sense of like the actual content, but like anyone could sit down and watch this, right? Like, and having just binged Invincible, it's really tough, right? Because the animation in Invincible is flawless.
Yeah.
And all the characters are deep and it's meaty and it's got intrigue and action, and all of it is brand new and creative and fresh, you know. And then this is just kind of, it's very safe, and you could show it to a 5-year-old and they'd probably enjoy it. Or you could show it to an adult and they'd probably enjoy it. That's what I say about, like, it's very safe. It's very all ages. I'm not saying I think Spider-Man ought to be out here, like, snatching out people's kneecaps and shit, but I just mean, like, no character is really complex. You know what I mean? They're all very surface level. I think maybe the most complex character on the show is probably Tombstone.
Yeah, I was gonna say Norman for me.
Norman, it would have been my set, like right there after him. But also, like, you know who Norman is from the jump, from when he first shows up, and he turns out to be that guy.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think honestly, I would have a lot more respect for the show if, like, at least in this first season, they just never give you that. That's how I would have done it. I wouldn't have. I would have just had Norman be cool. Like, maybe you do the whole thing where he shits all over Doc Ock, but like never does anything nefarious that like Peter or like the other students or any of that. Like, I would have saved all that for season 2.
Yeah, I think that so much of what Norman does is obviously very pivotal to the story here, though.
Yeah,
it'd be hard to change some of that without just changing the whole integrity of the show here.
And I feel like they are going to do that with Harry. I think Harry will just stay like straight and narrow
the whole time through.
Yeah.
I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that at all.
Well, this version of him is just so different than what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, he is now. I mean, and it's only to a degree, right? Like, he's still the cool, rich kid who hangs out with Peter.
Yeah.
You know?
But he was the first person to know, even if
yeah,
it wasn't Peter that told him, you know. I would love to see them turn that on its head and, like, have Nico be the one that actually, you know, goes bad. She has way more reason to.
Does she?
Yeah.
Her whole reason for being angry was very superficial to begin with.
See, she's got the tragic backstory.
But they all have tragic backstories.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with, like, there was like, that whole time that she was, like, mad at him, it felt very manufactured. Mm-hmm. Although, when she finally explained the whole, like, abandonment part of it.
Yeah, that's a you problem, bitch.
it made a lot more sense then. But up until then, it just kind of felt like you're just being a fucking child.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the fact that you won't even talk to him, like, she doesn't even know the scenario.
Yeah.
He didn't tell Harry. Harry found out it wasn't his choice. So I don't know. I feel like it played it safe in areas where I would have wanted to see them go further. And then in some of it, I also feel like I would have liked to see more of some of these characters. A lot of them just feel very lowest common denominator. You know what I mean? It's very much like, here's a caricature.
Yeah. And
we're gonna go with that. Like Pearl, right?
There's
like no depth
yeah.
to Pearl. She's the hot babysitter.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like a 90s trope. You know what I mean? A walking, talking trope.
Very much so. There are some things in this show, like I said, I just don't really understand the formal function behind it or the reasoning behind it. I thought that Pearl would at least, at minimum, be like, a plot device.
Yeah.
But she really wasn't even that. I mean, Lonnie just kind of kicked her to the curb and just fucking kept it rolling. You know?
Yeah.
And like Lonnie, he's an interesting character here because I mean, man, so once I heard them say the name Lonnie Lincoln, I was like, if you guys never said that, and if I wasn't such a fucking nerd, I wouldn't have pieced together that this was going to be Tombstone. I mean, first of all, he's a high school student. Second of all, he's not fucking milk white gray, you know. And he don't have no Luke Cage powers. So
I mean, even after they said Tombstone, I was like, who the fuck is Tombstone?
Yeah. And then there's that too, you know. Yeah. He's not exactly an A-list Spider-Man villain. But yeah, so seeing the pivot that they made with Tombstone, I'm like, this is a huge departure, but I'm here for it. Let me see what you guys do. I'm gonna let y'all cook. And
let him cook.
And by the end of the season, when you know it, they are still cooking. And I'm like, I'm gonna need y'all to hurry this shit up some, you know.
What's the Luke Cage guy from Invincible?
Oh, Mahershala Ali's character, I think.
I'm trying to remember the name of the character.
Yeah, what's the name of that character?
He's like heavily featured in the most recent episode that we have not reviewed yet.
Yeah, I've never reviewed, and actually I haven't even seen it yet.
Oh, well, no spoilies for that one. But like, Big Donovan in this show was just so heavily like that same character to an extent, and
he really was.
And it's just so hard to having just. I mean,
it's Titan.
Titan. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I just want you to imagine, right, that let's just say, for whatever reason, you just really enjoy cube steak. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's not my thing, but some people like it because people still eat it.
Right. But
like, let's just say that you like went to a restaurant the night before and just got like a $45 like filet mignon. Just cooked exactly perfect. You could just cut that shit with a spoon. Mm-hmm. Got the marbling on it. The grease dripping out down into the plate. Got some butter in the plate. Mm-hmm. And then you got to eat that cube steak the next day. That shit ain't gonna taste right. I'm just saying, coming straight from Invincible and into this, it was. I think it hurt it. For me. But, if I just, like, hadn't seen any superhero content in a while and I just fired this up, and for the record, I know I'm criticizing the shit out of this thing. I didn't hate it at all. I liked it. I enjoyed it. There was just, it doesn't do anything offensive, but it also doesn't do anything particularly deep. it's just passable, you know. Mm-hmm. Like I think the action it's nothing special.
There's a few action scenes I have to give them props for. That first Peter and Scorpion fight was a good one.
The Peter and Scorpion fight, and then where he fights the couple.
Yeah.
Both of those I think are the best action scenes.
I think so too.
But like that's it's a steep drop off from there.
I also really like the Daredevil and Spider-Man fight too.
Oh yes, that's the highlight of the show for me. Actually, I think Scorpion was a highlight in this.
Yeah,
even though you don't really get a lot about his character.
Yeah, but it's like, fuck it, man. Look how cool he is.
Yeah. They did a great job with Scorpion. Like I said, the first fight that him and Spider-Man have, tremendous. I love the bit with Daredevil. The fact that we got to hear Charlie Cox as him.
Right.
I think my favorite line in the whole show is when Peter's like, "Hey, you're pretty good at fighting," and he's like, "Yeah, you're not."
Yeah. You're like, you should be way better at this.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, I love how Daredevil has no superpowers other than like the blind sense, and he just hands him his ass.
Oh yeah, it was a clear depiction of like, inherent talent in Spider-Man versus pure fucking skill.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
like, this motherfucker can fight.
Yeah. Oh man, it was so funny. Just a quick sidebar. I was reading some Daredevil the other day. And there was a part where Spider-Man comes in and teams up with Daredevil, and Matt's going through a hard time, and they're fighting this one supervillain.
Oh, is he?
Oh yeah. Believe it or not,
it's hard to believe.
Believe it or not, Matt's going through a real tough time. It's funny, like those those actual post office mailboxes where you go to when you open up the lid and you put the package in.
Yeah.
Like Matt picks up one of those and hits the motherfucker with it like it's a steel chair. And it was just the greatest shit that I ever seen. I've never seen somebody get hit with one of those before.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think I have either.
No. Anyways, there are some interesting moments in this show, right? And then we are going to get into like a format here, but like when I think about some of the shit in this show that for me was just really corny. I think about like the whole gang war that they got going on.
That shit, like him being in Lonnie being in the gang to begin with, is fucking ludicrous. Like it makes no sense.
Right. Yeah, and their whole explanation behind why he's in it was also very loose. Like I get it, his brother joined the gang, and then they viewed it like body for body. So Lonnie decided to take his brother's place, but instead of being smart about it and just, going to the police or doing anything else that's rational, Lonnie just stays in and does whatever they want him to do. And there's a few problems with it. Like, for one, Lonnie, he seems so regretful about it until he's not. But we never really get to see that turn. We just see him being in the gang and not liking it until he does like it.
Right.
And we never really get to see like the turn happen. We just get to, it's like a light switch. He's off and then he's on all of a sudden. And now he's all for this whole gang life. But we really don't get to see him begin to enjoy the process of being a gang member. He just is.
Did you know that Big E was in this show?
I did.
Yeah, it's Bulldozer, yeah.
Yeah. Which is pretty funny. But no, when I think about like the whole gang thing here, there was, what was the name of Lonnie's gang?
The 110th.
The 110th, that's right. Versus like the Scorpions or whatever.
Yeah.
Like when they had that big melee, I was like, ain't a single goddamn gun?
Yeah, right, yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing here?
That whole thing felt really odd when like there was a legit supervillain on one of the teams. Like Scorpion just beat your whole gang 1v everyone.
Right. And that's the second time their two gangs fought.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like an actual supervillain who just damn near killed Spider-Man, So it was very bizarre. But
it was odd.
Going to the opening of this show, when we see The whole interdimensional Spider-Man or Spider and Doctor Strange fighting a fucking creature that we get no explanation for.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what the fuck that thing is.
So clearly it was some kind of symbiote creature, right?
It looked like a Venom from a weird ass dimension.
Yeah.
You know?
And so my question is, do you think that maybe, I don't think the show thought about this, I'm going to say no already, but do you think that maybe it was a symbiote on a character who we would recognize?
Like Sabretooth?
I mean, that's an option.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it kind of looked like. You know, it had like the fur and shit.
Oh, it did, yeah.
I don't think the boots had any, but like, you know.
God damn it.
On the creature itself.
Yeah, okay.
Or it could have been a xenomorph. A symbiote.
Yeah, that's even more terrifying. That's awful.
Yeah. Does that make them less or more awful, you know?
I think it just makes them more awful.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
Yeah. Oh no, that's awful. And you know, like, what you think about this opening scene with Doctor Strange fighting this creature?
I will say, like, the MCU cameos were on point for this show. You know, obviously we get Doctor Strange. You know, we get Daredevil. Who else did we get like a big cameo from?
From MCU?
Yeah. Well, Iron Man, obviously.
Oh yeah. There's an Iron Man cameo,
and like a really good RDJ impersonator.
right? Yeah, I can see it now. They called up RDJ. Hey man, listen, we only need like 5 lines of dialogue from you. Can you just send that over your phone? He was like, yeah, my accountant and my manager said it's going to be about 80 million for me to do that. And they were like, we'll get back with you.
Yeah. Yeah, then they just like had auditions for like a RDJ impersonator.
Right.
They're like, we're just going to use AI to recreate your voice, dog. Fuck
right.
You. Fuck you then. Yeah, so we got some nice like surprise cameos in this. I think it was a very interesting way to open, you know.
Ultimately, I do think it was interesting, and because like it was so different for me, I was very intrigued to see the shoe drop, and it wasn't the juice was not worth the squeeze on that. And
we'll have to talk about that towards the end. For sure.
Yeah, for sure we will. But yeah, I'm like, he just could have went on like the class of school field trip and got bit by a spider. Like it would, you know, like this is just a weird way to get here.
You didn't like the Ocarina of Time loop?
No, I did not. I mean, when it serves a purpose, you know, and plays out in a cool way, sure. But like, this is just the laziest time loop I've ever seen.
It was very odd, like if you go back in time and kill your grandpa, what happens type scenario, you know. Given that they've already established how time travel works, it was odd, you know.
And how? Because I missed the actual time gap. How long was it?
It was a few weeks.
Was it just a few weeks? Really?
I think so. Yeah.
Because
they have time to work on the thing, so I don't know. It was probably a couple months then. I wouldn't say any more than a year. Yeah,
because I was just thinking about Peter's relationship with Nico, and if they've only been friends for a couple weeks, she got some fucking nerve.
Yeah, it had to have been a couple months. Yeah, you're right. But I would say no more than a year because, like, they never talked about like a graduation or a summer or anything like that. So maybe it's a school year.
Could be.
You know?
Right. Yeah, so we get this whole opening scene, which was, again, it was a really cool spectacle to see. I love the use of Doctor Strange's powers here.
Yes.
Against this vague symbiote creature. And then we see Peter and Nico. They really have a lot of faith that they're going to get a season 2 in this, the more I think about it.
Well, I think, interestingly enough, Marvel TV has kind of talked at length about how going forward they're going with a more traditional model for their TV shows. They plan to they already basically greenlit Born Again for a season 2, and they said that they plan to continue making it. So I think that you're going to see a lot more traditional TV kind of format, like I think we're gonna get probably Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 2 next year. Like I don't think we're gonna have to wait that long. I think we're still gonna have like 2 years between X-Men seasons though.
Yeah, probably.
Because they're not getting that shit off the ground this year.
Yeah, I think they did post a release date. I think it was next summer.
Yeah.
So, another quick sidebar that I thought was interesting. As many of the character designs that are very different and non-traditional from like the typical Spider-Man stories, oddly enough, Doctor Strange and Peter Parker are both drawn the way that Steve Ditko drew them back in the 60s.
Wasn't Doc Ock really close to his original design also?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just interesting to see, like, there were a handful of characters that looked like exactly like they did when they were first drawn.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I thought it was like a really cool nod to Steve Ditko, who very rarely gets his flowers for co-creating Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Right.
You know,
you know the funny thing too, like the animation in this does a very good job of looking like a Spider-Man comic.
It does.
Like a classic, you know, probably what 70s, 80s,
yeah,
Spider-Man comic. And I did really enjoy that aspect of the animation.
Yeah, I did too. It did take a little while for me to get used to.
Yeah.
Again, like you coming straight from Invincible to this was, you know, just took some getting used to.
Yeah.
But once I settled into it, I really started to like the animation style.
I really love the way they ended the first episode, where they took the Homecoming, or actually not Homecoming, but Civil War scene, and they like animated that shot for shot, all the way up until you see who's on the couch. And instead of Tony Stark, it's Norman Osborn. And this is where we get into the what if kind of part of all this. Were you aware that that was going to be the case?
I was not.
So what was your like kind of reaction to this? Like, did you pick up on that they were recreating that scene?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It may have taken me a little while, like him walking down the hallway. Maybe I didn't notice it then. But like as soon as he walked through the door and, you know, he kind of rounds the corner, I'm like, no, I know this.
Yeah. They're even playing the same music.
Yeah. So by the time I caught on to what they were doing, I was like, it can't be Tony Stark on that couch.
Yeah.
And it was not. It was a different rich motherfucker.
Yep. Sir Norman Osborn.
Yep. It's hard to say, like, in all the multiverses, which Spider-Man has it the worst. But I think just off this meeting alone, this Peter is worse off than Tom Holland's Peter.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom Holland's Peter actually has it pretty good, to be honest.
That's true. His Peter, like, went in reverse. Like, he starts off pretty darn good. And now you look at him, he's like, man, I'm poor. My aunt's dead. I don't have a cool super suit.
Nobody knows who I am. I went from having arc reactors and, like, Quinjets and shit to, like, a suit I had to sew my fucking self.
It's bullshit.
It's cold out here. I can't turn my heat on in my apartment.
I ain't pay my bills because I'm poor.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At least this one got a hot Puerto Rican aunt.
So that's just the running theory now. She's Puerto Rican.
Sorry, have you seen the show? Listen. All right, listen. Okay. Bear with me here.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
All the homies out there, okay, I want you to watch this show, okay, and tell me that Aunt May is not at least drawn like a hot Puerto Rican MILF, okay? I'm just saying, that's the vibe.
I will give you that. That is definitely the vibe.
If that's not what they were going for, they shouldn't have drawn her that way. And, like, she got a Jewish nephew. That's weird. But, you know, whatever.
Well, see, you remember May married into the family.
Correct.
So, you know, Ben is the blood relative.
Yes.
So
that's true. Because his last name's Parker.
His last name is Parker.
Yeah.
Which it would be weird if a Spider-Man property missed that somehow.
that would be strange. I mean, fortunately, actually, Disney would never do that because they're not morons.
They're not morons, yeah. Now, Sony would also never... You know what? We'll just continue. Madam Web exists.
We moved Morbius's suckers into his hands to make him less scary.
So much worse.
It's infinitely worse.
I'm like, Blade, please kill him. Oh, man.
So Norman Osborn
man,
is our big reveal.
Yeah, that's the big reveal, man. Coleman Domingo, what'd you think of his voice work here?
I love him in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen him in anything that I didn't think he killed it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Euphoria is probably his best work, in my opinion. Especially because there's an episode in Euphoria where it's literally just him and Zendaya sitting at a fucking table for an hour.
Yeah.
And somehow it's riveting and you're just glued to it.
Right.
You can't take your eyes or ears off of it.
That was a very good hour-long conversation. Yeah. I'm like, this was extremely cheap for y'all to make.
yeah. They made this episode for like $90 and then whatever they had to pay the two of them.
And a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
He was also very good in the latest Candyman movie. Probably my favorite performance in that movie. But yeah, he's very good here as Norman. He's a very convincing Norman. He has like a warmness to his voice so that he doesn't sound like a bullshitter when he speaks, until that asshole just comes out,
Yeah.
But like upon initially meeting Peter, he does seem very friendly, very upfront. And he just seems like he's just a decent guy,
Yeah.
As we find out, he's Norman Osborn.
Right.
But no, Peter's been accepted to go to like this special school, not the school of gifted youngsters you guys are thinking of, a different school for gifted youngsters.
Isn't that the school that gets destroyed though? And then he ends up going to just a regular school?
Well, I was actually talking about like it's not really a school per se, but like the Norman Osborn lab.
Yeah, well, because at the beginning of the show, he's like, yeah, I got accepted into this school for, like, geniuses or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's the school that gets destroyed by the weird saber-tooth xenomorph symbiote.
Yeah.
And then he ends up just going to, I think, the regular high school then, which is how he ends up with all these clearly not genius people. Right. And then Norman Osborn's like, hey, actually, do you want to come work for me?
That's what it is, yeah.
And he has a lot of dickbags working at Oscorp.
Yeah, man. Including Amadeus Cho, who was like the only other student there who I recognize by name. He's the totally awesome Hulk.
Yeah.
His name, that's not me calling him that. Here, he's just a dickhead.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he's just kind of a dickhead anyway, right? Yeah. He's got the Flash Thompson role from the movies, basically.
He does, except he doesn't have a crush on Peter, I don't think.
Yeah, no. He also, what's the name of the doctor that's over them?
Not Kurt Connors, but...
No. The one that's like immediately supervising the interns. Doc Seismic.
That guy. Yeah. Doc Seismic. I forget that guy's name, but yeah. Doc Seismic.
Yeah, he's kind of a dickbag too.
He is.
Not Kurt Connors. What was her name?
I forget what her first name was.
Linda or something.
Kirkana.
Oh my God. Yeah, so many of the people on this, unfortunately, they did multiple voices on the show.
Oh yeah.
They just had it just says Dr. Connors in here, motherfucker. But like so many of the cast just is additional voices.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because like so many of them did so many different voices.
If they could at least put a few.
Yeah, put like 2 or 3 and then like additionally.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think Dr. Connors has got some interesting stuff going on. The internet is thirsting over her like crazy.
Again, that's this show's fault.
Yeah,
And the internet's.
Yeah. Rule 34 existed for a long time before they made this show, though. I'm just saying.
They knew what they was doing. God damn,
There's
man.
so much one-armed lizard art out there.
Oh, right. You're like, this is unnecessary. I just didn't have this on my bingo card for 2025, you know.
No, but thirst trap lizard woman sounds like something that would happen.
It does, yeah. Oh, for sure. Homies, don't go looking that shit up. I don't know.
He's making a list.
I'm making a list.
He's checking it twice.
But that's kind of like another there's a lot of wink and nods here, and you don't know how many of these are going to pay off anytime, you know?
It's very like Gotham, the show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Very much so. It's like, oh, yeah, we know who that person is going to be someday. Just not right now.
I know it's the original art, but Doc Ock really looks like the Thing.
He's thinking it's like the Thing.
Yeah. He just looks like the Thing if he like didn't have rock for skin, you know? Like if he was just a fleshy thing.
Oh shit. Oh man. I never thought about that before. That's a very interesting observation.
We're jumping ahead though. So we get the intern program, which honestly, like it. I guess there's a payoff. A lot of the humor in this show is pretty good. What's the Wakandan? Is that Asha?
I think that's her name.
She was funny as hell.
Yeah.
Especially when he was like, no, go back. I just really like fires or whatever. And she's like, that's just a red flag, Peter.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hide the matches.
Yeah.
That shit was great.
That was great.
A lot of the humor in this show landed, I will say.
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah. And that is something, right? Like, with Spider-Man, the humor does need to land, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes out and he stops. Is this where he saves Harry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right in here.
Yeah. He saves Harry in his Temu costume.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, even Norman's like, yo, man, your suit is trash.
Yeah, that shit is straight garbage,
but
my boy.
All of Norman's suits are trash too.
That is true. You would think that Norman would have at least, one or two cool looking suits. Wasn't it like a Bumblebee suit?
One of them was a straight up Great Saiyaman suit.
Yeah.
That's immediately, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So yeah, like I do remember episode 2 leaves us with like Norman basically finding out that Peter is Spider-Man.
Yep.
I'm sure that won't come back to harm anybody.
He does whatever a spider can. I at this point I've got to mention, this show can be as bad as it wants to be, but there is a floor on how low of a score I'm willing to give it because the show intro is dope as hell.
It is.
You gotta put it at the beginning.
I do.
Yeah.
Yep. I gotta put that in.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I have it on my Spotify playlist. Like it's just dope.
It is really good.
I really love it.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming,
Yeah, when it played the first time, I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is amazing.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You get it?
Spider-Man, yeah.
Like, amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah.
It's because, like, in the comics, like, it's called, like, the amazing... Like that one right there. It says Amazing Spider-Man. You get it? And you say it's amazing, and it's a Spider-Man show. And so I'm like, Amazing Spider-Man. You get it.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. I got you. Yeah, you're in a rare form tonight, my friend.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of this Lonnie stuff that's going on.
You mean where he is like really cool and then he isn't?
The Lonnie stuff is so interesting because the show spends so much time investing in him.
They really do. I mean, it's like, are they planning for like Tombstone to be like the main villain for an arc?
And that's the thing. At least this season, we will never know.
No. What if they have Spider-Man? This is awful. Like, What if they face turn? You know, they just keep Harry, Tombstone, and like Dr. Connors, and like they have like the Spider Friends or some shit.
Oh Jesus!
And they make like a little Spider-Man Justice League type scenario.
I thought this was a Disney show. Is Sony making this?
No. That'd be the Sinister 5.5 or whatever. The Sinister 4 3/4.
Yeah. The Sinister 5 and a possible.
Yeah. 5 plus 1.
Yeah. Oh shit. The Lonnie stuff is interesting here, right? And again, it goes back to what we said earlier about the Pearl stuff. So Pearl is Lonnie's girlfriend, and Pearl used to be Peter's babysitter, and I guess she's like 3 years older than Peter or something like that. It just sounds like somebody who wrote this show has been on the hub and got an idea from there.
Pearl was like anybody that Will Smith dated in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
God damn, that again is oddly specific.
It is, right? But I'm not wrong.
Oh. And you know, they set up Lonnie to look like he's gonna be an asshole, but he's not.
No, yeah, he's really not. But he is a moron.
He is.
Cause like the jump from it turns out my little brother is in a gang. I should go I should go join them was astoundingly fast.
Yeah. And again, these are like the least intimidating gangs that I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, you might get your ass whooped, but you're going to go home.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally, we grew up in a small town, and, like, there are worse gangs there than either of these. Well, nobody has, like, to my knowledge, has, like, a Omega Scorpion suit.
That we know of.
But, like, prior to when they get the Scorpion suit.
Yeah, prior to when the Scorpion gang gets a fucking Scorpion suit.
Yeah.
They are pretty non-intimidating.
Yeah.
And it's weird because, like, what's the leader's name again?
Big Donovan?
Big Donovan. It's like, bro, you are like 40 years old. Why are you running around with these high schoolers?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
He's definitely selling the Molly or something.
Oh, for sure, something. He's doing something. And then I'm like, this is so non-luxurious. Like, what's the allure for any of you to be in this organization? Like, look at his chair. The shit was all busted and raggedy that he was sitting in.
Yeah.
Y'all are in a warehouse that's look like it has no power.
You guys are just squatting as a group.
Yeah. I don't think this can be classified as a gang. I'm going to be honest with you.
Like, there are probably Alcoholics Anonymous groups that are more of a gang than these guys. At least they got, like, light snacks.
Yeah. They got refreshments and whatnot.
Isn't the whole point of being in, like, a criminal element that, like, you're going to make money, you know?
Yeah. But, like, what binds them together? We never see them get money.
No. And, like, they don't even really dress alike. There's a couple people that have, like, the big yellow coats in the 1/10th, but, like, for the most part, man, I don't know what the idea is here. And, like, it's so crazy that he just is like, oh, that little motherfucker's hanging out with gangs. I'm about to go talk to him right now. And he, like, busts in his room. He's like, shit, he's not in here. I should go join the gang. And then that's it.
Right.
And then next thing you know, he's just full tilt in this gang.
Yeah.
And it's problematic for a couple of reasons. Like, it's like you said, we never really see any sort of gain for joining up with these guys. But it also kind of paints that it calls this organization a gang, and then kind of paints that as like a cool thing to do, which is really problematic. Also, like, if you're going to show a gang, and like, I think in a show like this, it's not like TVMA. I mean, I think it's pretty irresponsible of you to not show like the immense downsides of being in a gang.
Well, there are some upsides, like you can get superpowers, apparently.
Yeah.
You can join the gang.
Yeah, if you just like breathe in some dangerous chemicals.
Right. And live through it.
Yeah, you get superpowers.
You get superpowers. Everyone knows that's how that works. Right.
So we come up on the Doc Ock technology.
Doc Ock, somehow, some way, Doc Ock is to me, the biggest caricature in this.
Absolutely. He's fucking awful.
Okay, I think I agree with you on that.
There are Ninja Turtles villains
Right.
with more depth.
I mean, if this motherfucker had a mustache, it would be twirled.
Like, the only time I enjoyed him was when he super effortlessly fucks up the SWAT team.
Yeah.
With, like, Macaulay Culkin-esque antics.
Yeah.
Except it's not cute because he's like a 350-pound wall.
Yeah. He is such a fucking... I know that this is an animated show, but he's such a cartoon character.
He really is.
It's very bizarre. And, it's like, even outside of the comic books, you look at, like, the mainstream depictions of Doc Ock, and they are very, very in-depth and relatable, and you have sympathy for him. Like, you look at, Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 with Toby. That's a very introspective look at Doc Ock. If you played the Insomniac Spider-Man game that came out back in 2018, that's a very, very understandable version of Doc Ock.
Doc Ock in the Spider-Man ride at Universal has more depth to his character than this one.
This version of Doc Ock, man, like he is one step removed from like having a big old box of Acme products.
Yeah, that's basically what he's got. He's just like, he literally is the Rita Repulsa of like Spider-Man scientists.
Right.
He's just like, I'm gonna give out some of this technology. What's it gonna be today? Here's some flamethrowers. Go torch this building. That shit never pays off, by the way. Like,
yeah, you're right.
We never find out anything because, like, when that first happened, I was like, oh, okay, so they're gonna torch this building. It's gonna turn out Norman Osborn is involved in some kind of real estate scam. Something. Right. No, dog, that shit never comes up again.
Well, I mean, not to jump around, but neither does the thing with Matt Murdock.
Nope.
It was just a cool cameo.
Yeah, they were just like, okay, well, if in case anyone's getting bored, let's just throw Daredevil in right here. Which, not mad.
Right.
It worked.
It worked. But in retrospect, I'm a little upset.
Yeah, because that shit didn't ever pay off either.
No. But also, like, with Doc Ock here, he takes the role of another Marvel villain called the Tinkerer. And the Tinkerer, like, he doesn't really do shit much himself, but, like, his whole thing is he makes gear and he sells it to criminals.
Right.
And that's, like, exactly what Doc Ock does here.
Yeah.
He makes a bunch of shit and he sells it off. We do learn that he used to be, I think, employed to Norman Osborn. And shit goes sideways. That's a common theme, with those two.
I think don't they kind of make it out that he maybe co-founded Oscorp?
Maybe.
And then things went shit side up
That
with
could
the two
be
of
it.
them.
Yeah. Something like that. They had some relationship.
I love how, like, there's a scene where they're trying to track him, and Peter will, like, figure some shit out, and Norman immediately, he'll be like, oh, yeah, last time I talked to him, he was saying something about that.
Yeah. In case you didn't get the hint,
Yeah.
they had to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Doc Ock, yeah, he's about to make a smooth getaway. Well, he does sell some shit before he does all the shit with the security team and whatnot, before he gets raided.
There's the one couple where the chick has the lightsabers, and the dude had
the boots.
the speed boots.
Yeah.
That was a great fight.
It was a really cool fight.
Made no sense to the overall arcing plot, but it was a great fight.
Didn't add not really a single goddamn thing to the plot, but hey.
It was very like Creature of the Week.
It was, right? Which is a very weird thing to do in a TV show like this.
Yeah.
But, whatever. Yeah, that was a very interesting fight. No reason to really talk a whole lot about it, just because there's not really a whole lot of consequences to it. But Doc Ock, he's selling shit to everybody. I mean, we also see him sell shit that leads us to get like the Rhino.
Yeah.
And Proto Rhino. I don't know what you want to call the chick who had the shit, but
yeah, that was odd.
Yeah. And again, very creature of the week because we get this stuff with like, the Rhino gang or whatever you want to call them, and then they just then they're done.
Who's the chick that Daredevil told to like keep an eye on Spider-Man?
Yeah, what was that? What was that chick's name? It's Taskmaster's kid in the comics.
Like Perception or some shit like that.
It was something. I forget what it was. Not Blind Spot. I forget her name.
Well,
but yeah, she's Taskmaster's kid in the comics. She has the same abilities.
Yeah. And then she never shows back up either.
No.
Daredevil's like, yeah, keep an eye on this situation, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, all right.
Which was like the weirdest cameo because this is like a relatively new creation and like who the fuck knows who she is? Yeah.
And like, why is she working with Daredevil?
Yeah, there's so many questions. Yeah.
So many questions.
So many. Yeah, this show at times just felt like it tried to shoot in cameos where it could, regardless of how little it made sense.
I mean, they really went quantity over quality in a lot of aspects. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is like just them throwing shit at a wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
But, on the other hand, it's like I said earlier, like somebody all ages can watch this. Mm-hmm. Like a 5-year-old could throw this on and enjoy it. They're not paying attention to any of that shit. They just want to see Spider-Man do things.
Yeah.
And, I would love that shit. If this show was on when I was like 5, I would have liked it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had a fun time with it as a 36-year-old male.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely never felt like I wasted my time or whatever. There's a lot that's missing from the pot here,
Yeah. And their attempt to do so much, they end up accomplishing very little. But it's still an enjoyable romp.
Yeah.
So, how do you think Norman does as the guy in the chair?
It's interesting, right? Because he kind of passes that on to Harry really quickly, and then that kind of goes nowhere also. That's another dead end. Mm-hmm. I thought Norman as the guy in the chair was actually fantastic in a lot of ways.
He reminded me of, what was his name in The Flash? Was it Harrison?
Harrison Wells?
Harrison Wells, yeah. Reminded me a lot of Harrison Wells in The Flash.
Except he never was like, run, Petey. Run. You've got to get up and run.
Bear's like, the fuck you think I've been doing?
Yeah.
That's my power.
Yeah, it's my only power.
But yeah, it reminded me of Harrison Wells because it's like he's giving the hero good advice, but you know that shit's going to be sour at some point.
Yeah. It's self-serving. Mm-hmm. Especially like when Norman finally has a talk with him and he says, if that's the Spider-Man that you're going to be, I don't know if we can keep working together.
Yeah.
He says, and, Scorpion beat you because you held back and he didn't. Mm-hmm. And the moment you decide to stop doing that, you're going to be unstoppable. But, like, that's where I need to be Spider-Man. I need Spider-Man to be at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's some villainous shit to say, man.
Oh, yeah. And then the whole with
great power comes great respect.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed that twist on it.
So my question is this. Has Uncle Ben never said that to Peter? Obviously not the respect part, but...
Yeah, I guess not.
I guess he didn't. This is yet all in... Well, they do mention Uncle Ben very briefly here, don't they?
Yeah. A couple times, actually, because it's his camera, and then she talks about digging up his VCR.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's just... it's interesting because I'm wondering... What the fuck has Uncle Ben been doing before he died?
He was just looking at Playboy. He was doing Grandpa Wookie VR.
Oh, no. Peter, you're a genius. Come build this contraption for me.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What do you need this for? I had no reason.
There's no reason particular. That's awful.
So while we're talking about this,
VR Wookiee porn.
yeah, while we're talking about Grandpa Wookiee VR porn, what do you think about the reveal that Richard Parker is alive but in prison?
I really didn't have any thoughts on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, because why should I expect this to? It's at the end of the season. I'm not gonna get a payoff on this, and I still have like a dozen other questions that also did not get paid off.
Yeah.
And I mean, so yeah, Richard Parker is alive. This is again, it's something that's new, and I appreciate that, but I don't know what's gonna come of it. So it's like, how did he survive? Why is he in jail? And why doesn't Peter know that he's alive? You know,
Yeah.
those are kind of the three main questions.
And obviously, like, May hates him for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Honestly, when Sony tried to go this route, it never paid off.
Nope.
And I feel like this isn't going to be much better, to be honest.
I agree.
It's crazy how much this show, on paper, does a lot of things differently. Mm-hmm. But in reality, so much of it feels like you've seen it before.
Yeah, and that comes from like a lack of depth.
Yeah.
And it makes the show feel a little superficial at times.
Right.
Does the show no favors. Yeah. So that whole reveal at the end, I mean, I just wasn't moved by it, you know, because what am I supposed to think? Okay, he's alive. All right. I don't know how that changes. I mean, if Peter finds out, then yeah, that can be some interesting conflict and drama.
Yeah.
But to what end? I don't know.
Let's talk about Scorpion, man.
Yeah.
Scorpion was incredible.
Matt Gargan, this is probably the best that Scorpion has ever been treated.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's to the point now where he's just almost a joke in the comics, you know.
He's just like shitty Doc Ock.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, hell, spoiler alert, and like in the latest Spider-Man game, he gets fucking killed like immediately by Kraven.
Yeah.
You know, he shouldn't have been named after an animal. That was his fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scorpion here proved why Scorpion would work very well in a live action movie.
Agreed.
And I mean, I forget the Michael Mando. Yeah, Nacho from Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
You know, he played Matt Gargan in Homecoming.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically, I guess he's still in prison.
Yeah.
You know, his ass can bust out, get you a Scorpion suit from somewhere.
The action on both the Scorpion fights was awesome.
Yeah.
Especially the first one, but like the way that they used Scorpion in ways that you just haven't seen, where like he legitimately used the tail as like a third appendage. He would use it to get up.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of stuff was really cool. Or like he would use it to move around. And it's like we see Doc Ock move in a certain way with all the different tentacles he has. And it was just interesting to see this because you don't want it to 100% look like a Doc Ock thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not. So you got to make him separate from Doc Ock and also make him formidable and make him make sense. And like they just did a great job with it.
They did. And it was a great back and forth fight, but, both fights. But in that first one in particular, you know, Scorpion had the upper hand. Peter was putting in work, but Scorpion just had his number.
Yeah.
And, this is one of the few times when the show really surprised me with, like, its use of action and violence. And, you know, when Peter gets hit with that tail, with that stinger, you could tell it fucked him up. Now, when my heart skipped a beat and thinking that we were going to get something that I didn't expect was when the glider flew in. And I thought that we were going to get a goblin on that glider, but we did not.
Yeah, that was like a little wink and a nod and a hint, you know. I thought so, too. I was like, oh, shit, are we just going straight here with the goblin? I want to talk about Norma here, and we can get into the kind of lead up to the end. But so do you think he's going to get enhanced by one of the spiders that they created? And it's just like not going to take?
That could be how they do it. I can see that. Yeah, because it's hard to tell how else he could get there. We know that the way Lonnie got his powers was from snooping around in that Oscorp truck.
Yeah.
And some random ass chemicals.
Yep.
It could be that. It's gonna be very cool to see Norman turn. And that's kind of one of the many things really that I want to see from a season 2 is that I do want to see the other shoe drop with Norman. I want to see the fallout between, Peter and Norman. Like I can see those two falling out over like moral discrepancies.
Yeah.
Peter finding out that Daredevil was right about what he said.
Yeah.
And then, Norman taking it into his own hands. Well, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. And the end result is a crazy ass goblin.
Yeah. I think another thing that really I think worked for the show is like how close this universe is to 616, because like all the Civil War stuff is going on at the same time. And we got a good bit of Thunderbolt Ross in here, which was cool.
Yeah.
And even like Iron Man basically now is his kind of bitch at the moment,
Yeah.
And we never got to see that in the MCU very much.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
But there was a significant period of time, like basically from the end of Civil War to the beginning of Infinity War, there's a whole period of time where like the half of the Avengers that signed are basically Thunderbolt Ross's bitches.
They're the Thunderbolts.
Yeah. The Avengers asterisk.
Yeah, that's true. We don't really get to explore that a whole lot in the MCU. So to see part of that play out was pretty cool.
And the way that Norman handled the situation with Ross was like pretty awesome. Where he's like, "Oh, well, we Spider-Man's a Oscorp like corporate asset. I'll give you the info, but you have to keep it all under lock and key." Both of them are dirty motherfuckers,
right?
And then he doesn't even give him Peter's info. He gives him his like head of security.
Which is fucked.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: would you like to see Coleman Domingo play a live-action Norman Osborn?
I definitely wouldn't hate it. Mm-hmm. I've never hated him in anything. I've always loved him in whatever.
Yeah.
I'd be up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, same. Yeah. I think he'd kill it.
Yeah. Obviously, we're gonna get an MCU Norman Osborn soon.
Yeah.
It's got to happen, right?
And I think we talked about this before, like maybe after No Way Home. But how does Tom's Peter react to Norman Osborn? Because the last time he encountered a Norman Osborn, didn't go well.
Yeah, I think it's got to kind of go similarly to this. I think he's got to meet a perfectly sane, actually good guy, Norman Osborn. And just constantly be like looking for anything, and he just can't find it.
Yeah.
And then finally you have him arrive at, that guy was from a different universe. That doesn't mean that this one's going to turn out that way. He's going to be completely different. And you got to wait till Peter gets like comfortable in that shit and then get him.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, man, because there's so much that they can do, with the Tom Holland, Peter Parker, but it's weird, right? Because in retrospect, they got 3 whole movies, but man, is that enough to do everything?
You know what just came to my mind, and like, obviously, like we would all love to see a Sinister Six,
right?
Like a Sinister Six versus maybe Peter and Miles.
Yeah.
But what just came into my brain, man, was like, we've already seen an amazing Green Goblin versus Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But like, what if that's the play? It's like Norman does win over Peter and finally gets Peter to be like, just because the other one was this way, whatever. And then like Norman ends up, when he becomes a goblin, he kills him. Like, and like, that's like, he's Miles's villain instead.
Wait, who?
Like Norman kills Peter.
Oh.
And like he is like the main villain for Miles instead.
That is risky.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is risky.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to do that in like a 5, you know?
I mean, that is... Ooh. Man.
They already killed Tom Holland Spider-Man once before. Thanos did it. It's fine. Thanos killed him.
It's not the same.
Norman can kill him. It'd be okay. They're not going to do that, but I wish they would. That would be amazing.
Spider-Man. You get it because, like...
No. I got it. Oh. I got it. We're actually a little past that.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't think you got it at first.
No, I got it.
It's because, like, there's a comic book called The Amazing Spider-Man.
A lot of them. Yeah. As a matter of fact. Because Stan Lee really liked adjectives.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Anywho, adjectives aside, yeah, when that glider came in to save Peter, I was very excited, and then I realized there was no one on it. I was like, okay.
Well, then he got on it.
Yeah.
And then you were fine.
No, and then I was mad for Peter because you had this the whole time.
The whole time.
Somebody
has to pick Miss Doubtfire for their throwback movie because we keep referencing it.
Okay, just because we keep saying the whole time.
The whole time.
See, you know.
You see, because she says that.
Oh no, I get it.
Okay,
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, every once in a while, Caleb, you do this weird shit where you like over-explain your jokes, and it's like I understand what's going on.
I see,
and I'm sure the homies get it too.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
Yeah, just you know,
I haven't been doing this that long,
so yeah, it's only been a few years. You'll get it.
Yeah, I'll get there. Yeah. I've only been the co-host for like a year?
A year, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so
all right. Really that's true. You know, yeah. You're still a young buck, still wet behind the ears.
Yeah. There's a wide berth between, you know, the like 7-time guest of the year.
Oh, okay.
And being the permanent co-host.
Is there? I guess there is.
There is because being the guest of the year, you can kind of pick and choose your battles.
That's true.
You see, but as a co-host, you have to suffer.
You do have to suffer.
And the homie Kevin was telling me that he definitely does not miss that shit. Because I was like, oh, man, you never had to see... I can't remember what we were talking about. I was like, oh, you never had to see this? And he was like, no. No, I don't miss that stuff at all. He's like, as a matter of fact, I haven't seen that, and I don't want to. And I was like, yeah. I think it was like Madam Web or
that sounds about
something
right.
like that, yeah.
He missed out on so many awful movies.
Yeah. He got out at the right time.
He got out at the right time, let me tell you.
Back in the day, the worst thing you had to sit through was like an Aquaman or... Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Batman vs. Superman.
Like Captain Marvel, you know.
Yeah, I mean...
And then... Yeah, but now, oh my gosh, man. To endure the dying phases of Marvel Sony...
I remember when we thought Ragnarok was like the rock bottom.
I wish. I fucking wish.
We weren't even at bedrock, folks. Like we were so far away from rock bottom.
Oh man, yeah. Little did we know that just a few years away, the Eternals would be looming right around the corner.
Yeah, and Madam Web and Morbius and
Quantumania, Love and Thunder.
Yeah, Love and Thunder makes Ragnarok look like a fucking masterpiece.
Right. It makes Ragnarok look the way it was supposed to.
Yeah. So with this show with Norman, it all they finally exposed to Peter the villainous nature of him and all of the interns really when it turns out that all of their separate projects they were working on, Norman actually intended to combine them all and essentially recreate the Tesseract.
Yeah. Because what could go wrong? You know?
Yeah, what could go wrong? Yeah. I mean, what could have gone wrong with the Tesseract, you know?
Right.
It's not like things went really wrong with that twice.
Right. Yeah. How much of that does he know about?
I mean, all of that stuff had to have happened.
I'm sure it all happened, but like, are people like aware that, okay, we had sky buttholes and alien invasions and all that because of the Tesseract?
They referenced the sky butthole.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the Tesseract
because it's the Tesseract. I think that had to have been in the news, right? I mean, maybe that was classified, but even then, Norman Osborn would have known.
Yeah.
His fucking window is like right down the street. You can't tell me he didn't know.
Oh man. But yeah, what could go wrong with something like that?
As a matter of fact, that shit that like they go track down to keep the portal stable or whatever, they probably tried to get it from him first. So,
man, yeah, it's unfortunate that we don't get like any live action Norman Osborn and Tony Stark interactions. I just feel like that'd be fun to see.
yeah. I mean, we could get it. We just didn't thus far.
Yeah, that's true. Anything's possible.
I loved the prison scene with Norman and Doc Ock. It's unfortunate that it was basically a monologue because this Doc Ock does not have anything to say.
No.
Of any substance. He's just like, rub it in your face. I don't know why Seth Rollins is Doc Ock. But
Norman Osborn. Curse you. I'll get out of here, Norman.
Maybe this would have been right for Seth. This is pretty much par for the course. Seth actually might have been an improvement.
Oh, man.
I'm going to get you, Norman Osborn. When I finally break out of here, as a matter of fact, when I get back to my cell, I'm going to draw a picture of how I plan to get out of here on the wall.
You see, because you might be a billionaire, but I'm a revolutionary. But he really did draw a fucking schematic of how...
And like enormous.
Yeah.
Like the guard's not going to walk by in 10 seconds and be like, what the fuck you doing?
Otto, the fuck is that on your wall?
Because it kind of looks like a giant like spider tentacle suit.
No.
No.
By the way, can I keep my spoon when I'm done with dinner?
Every day.
Every day. You've collected 58 spoons so far, Norm. Otto, what are you doing back there? Nothing. Also, the schematic, I could be wrong, but it looked like it had a lot more than 4 arms.
Yeah.
So she's drawing like a fucking...
He's a legit spider. He's like 8.
Yeah, okay. I mean, octopuses also have 8.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I mean...
He's a super octopus then.
But, yeah, because... The 4 extra, he already has 4.
Already has those,
The 4 extra makes it 8. I think maybe that went over someone's head.
But no, I'm saying, like you said, 8 like a spider, but I was like, spiders have 8 legs. Octopuses also have.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't really know what the point was of him
adding even more.
Yeah. Because. I mean, not to get lost in the science of fucking Doc Ock, but
especially this one.
Yeah, especially this one of all the ones. But it's like the thing is embedded into your spinal cord and brain. That's how you control them. Like, at what point is your mind fractured trying to split between 12 limbs?
Right. Yeah. This ain't no ATM shit. Like, you don't have the shit to expand your brain to be able to comprehend all this shit. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure that Doc Ock will remain in prison until his time is served.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So where it gets interesting here is they go to open up the space-time butthole.
That's what it does.
With all fairness, it's just a space butthole.
It is just right now.
There's a separate time butthole in a minute. It's actually a space-time. That was a space-time butthole because it travels through space and time.
That is true.
Yeah.
Very distinct.
And we were just talking recently about how it's usually just a space butthole.
Yeah.
And that it's very rare to get a space-time butthole. It's usually just Dial of Destiny.
Right.
But we got one here. So Doctor Strange is like, hey, y'all should probably shut this bullshit down right now. And they're like, nah. And then they're like, why did you fuck up that school? And like Norman's monologue here, because it's not a back and forth. To me, it was just, it was Fox News host level. Like, he's like, well, how dare you come in here with your magic powers and call yourself a sorcerer? Like, you can't be a good person if you call yourself a sorcerer. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, where's this coming from?
And then we let the giant symbiote thing in here. Yeah. Like, they mentioned him going to the school and destroying the school, and he's like, I was not there. And immediately then I was like, oh, well, it seems like you're about to be.
See, I was thinking, oh, okay, what we got in episode 1 was maybe a Doctor Strange from a different universe. Maybe because that would have made more sense than what we actually got.
Oh, I immediately knew Eye of Agamotto, that they were about to time jump. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is, though, the problem with this scenario here is that why wouldn't Doctor Strange have known that there was a variant of him that was at a school? Because everyone else fucking saw that. Yeah. Everyone else saw the fucking wizard fighting the alien.
Yeah, why wouldn't he have heard about that on the news or whatever? Yeah. Maybe he's busy.
He is the Sorcerer Supreme or whatever, but still.
Yeah, maybe he was like off-world doing some shit.
I feel like Wong should be like, hey.
Hey, man, are you currently here fucking up a school right now? Nope. Well, there's a scroll that has your powers. Then, or there's a you from another multiverse. I'm gonna go check it out, but no. Wong said fuck it.
He couldn't be bothered.
So the space butthole spits out the saber-tooth xenomorph symbiote creature, and the fight here is not nearly as inspired.
No, it's not. It really isn't. Which is a shame because like this is the one that you really want to be cool, you know. And again, like it's just some vague symbiote creature. It was to the point where like we see what looks like the creature's homeworld, and I'm like, are we going to Clintar with Noel? You know, yeah. Are we gonna see that motherfucker in the chair again?
Yeah.
We do not. Also, what was stopping the other symbiotes from coming through that portal?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and this one was formidable.
Yeah.
Because it was fighting like full power Doctor Strange and Spider-Man.
Right. And holding his own very handedly.
Yeah. And then, of course, Doctor Strange is showing off the time stone willy-nilly. Mm-hmm. And the symbiote gets a hit on the time stone. And this opens up the space-time butthole that they fall through, and they end up in episode 1. So, to spell this out, okay, so Spider-Man exists, and then they got his blood, and they reverse engineered his DNA and injected it into a bunch of spiders, one of which then fell through the hole and went back in time and bit him to make him become Spider-Man in the first place.
I hate this so much.
Yeah, I do too. I hate it because it directly flies in the face of how they have presented time to work in the MCU already.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, right? Time travel is rarely a clean thing, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it's Future Trunks or if it's Terminator. Like, there's always something that goes on with time travel or Back to the Future that makes you think, okay, but I don't really think that lines up. But this here is just, it's been a little overplayed in media, like this specific brand of time travel. And it just doesn't really, it just felt like an unnecessary addition to the story for me.
Yeah, I agree. Because it doesn't really lead to anything. It's just a brief mind fuck.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it felt to me, you know, so.
And not like the Christopher Nolan kind where you're going to like climax multiple times. You know, this is just like, what?
I mean, that's kind of how I was when I left Tenet.
You're like,
I think I had fun.
No, when you leave Tenet, you know you enjoyed it. You just don't know What happened?
Right.
It's like a sleepover at Bill Cosby's house, I guess.
Wait a minute. You know you enjoyed it, but you don't know what happened. I don't think that's accurate. Part of that is accurate.
Yeah, you not knowing what happened.
Okay.
Part, yeah. This is weird, and but I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've never had a taste for pudding pops. So
and I'm sure that has not improved over time.
Right. Oh man. So, and it's such a fucked up scenario because Peter's blood is what they use on the spider.
Right.
And the spider's like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the other way around.
Yeah. Well, like the spider's already bitten him. It's just
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But yeah, because of that, we have Spider Man, I guess.
Spider boy.
Spider boy, Spider lad.
Spiderling.
Man boy spider. But yeah, so they do eventually defeat the vague symbiote creature, putting it back in this realm and closing the portal.
Doctor Strange gives him a vague, inspirational speech.
You know, vague inspirational speeches and like vague predictions of the future. I'm gonna need MCU to stop doing those so much.
Yeah.
All right. Damn it. Stop. Yeah, did we we did mention Lonnie getting tombstone powers, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We talked about that, and the team up here is how they finally beat Scorpion.
Yep. And one of the final scenes with Lonnie when Big Donovan, I guess he's in jail, I think, right?
Yeah.
And they chose Lonnie to be the new leader. All right.
Yeah.
And
shocking.
I guess you would choose the guy with superpowers.
Right, yeah. Like, they had a guy with superpowers, now we got a guy with superpowers.
Yeah. And you do see a little bit of the albinoism coming through on him, on his hands.
Yeah.
So it looks like they are leaning towards him becoming like a more traditional tombstone. Now, the way that he progresses this season, I wouldn't be surprised if in season 2 he's just full on villain, and the show is like, yeah, of course this happened. I'm like, all right, sure.
Well, I think they're gonna. Unfortunately, I think they're gonna go the love triangle route. I think Pearl is gonna go after Peter, and he's gonna get pissed off about that. And I think they're gonna kind of use that scene where he came over and they were like working on the science project, and have him go the whole like, were y'all doing this shit behind my back, like that kind of thing.
I don't know if he gives a fuck about Pearl no more.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
It is hard to say. And that's the other thing, right? It's like, even on like the angsty teen drama romantic side of things, the shoe never drops.
No, right. No. I'm not saying it's good. I think that's the direction they're going to go. I think it's awful.
Yeah. Because like Peter, he never gets with Pearl.
Right.
He never links with Nico.
Yeah.
There is no MJ or Gwen in this show.
No. Maybe that's something they're going to do later.
Maybe. And it's just
Is Nico supposed to be somebody?
Yeah, Nico Monaro, I believe is her full name. She is an actual character from the comic books. She was from a group called the Runaways. She's like think of her as like another magic user. She's like a witch of sorts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not a bad character. Yeah, and that's another thing. They kept hinting at Nico's powers, but nothing ever really came with that either. So we never get to see that coming to fruition. It is just bizarre to see like their character selection, because I like Nico as a character. I just would have never thought to put her in a Spider-Man show.
In that kind of role.
Yeah, in that role, yeah.
Yeah.
What was a really interesting relationship that was in like the Ultimate Universe was Peter and Kitty Pryde. That was always pretty cool.
That would be dope.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
It seemed like they had a wide open kind of license on who they could use here. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of weird choices in the show. Like I said, I don't hate it. It's cool that it's its own thing, but as far as like building on itself as a property and like as a show, I don't think it does a great job. Like, I'm not really specifically hyped for anything in season 2. I mean, I'll watch it because I'm sure we're going to review it. But I feel like there's a lot of just, like we said, throwing stuff at the wall here to see if it sticks.
Yeah, I agree. And the pacing of this thing also feels a little bizarre at times because there's obviously an A plot that's running, and everything else just feels like it's slowing down the A plot.
Yeah, it does.
So we get like the monster of the week type ordeal, whether he's fighting, the chick with the lightsaber and the dude with the boots, or like the rhino people, or hell, I mean, if the scorpion shit wasn't so cool, I mean, so it's just hard to like separate that from like the main plot that's going on here.
If the scorpion fights weren't awesome, the whole gang war feels completely useless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just a weird, lame distraction from the A plot. And it's crazy because, like, and I hate to keep making these comparisons because it's not fair to this show, but, like, Invincible can go, like, 9 episodes without talking about Nolan or the Viltrumites. Mm-hmm. And I'm glued to that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right? Because, like, the way that season 1 had to end was with, like, the major what the fuck happens now,
Right.
With Nolan and with Mark. And you look at the show now and, it's like, okay, well, they're doing their thing with Nolan, but right now the focus is on Mark and Cecil,
Right, yeah.
And so, like, they're Invincible, that whole show and story and comic is all so versatile that it doesn't really need to depend on that one thing to get them through,
Yeah. Well, it's because all of those characters are so rich.
Yeah.
And all of those characters are intriguing and those plot lines are interesting. Mm-hmm. And you need them to resolve and you want to see them play out. Whereas, I mean, here it's just like they give you a bunch of wink and nods and then some of them come to fruition. I won't say paid off because nothing ever really felt like it like landed, Like,
Yeah.
I mean, things felt like they went to their natural conclusion, but nothing ever feels overly satisfying.
Yeah.
Even when it was over, it was just like, okay,
Right. I do wonder if this being a Spider-Man show ultimately kind of hurt it. Because if this was like a lesser known IP, I think that they probably would have paid more attention to detail to maybe make some of the characters a little more rich or fleshed out. But because we all know Spider-Man so well, they can just maybe do a little bit less and feel like they can still get mileage from it.
I think viewership-wise, the fact that it's a Spider-Man show is the only thing it's got going for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I mean, honestly, like, Peter and Norman were both fine. I mean, I thought Norman was well done. I never felt like Peter wasn't Peter, you know?
Yeah. If it wasn't for like those last 3 episodes, I would have said Peter definitely needs some kind of growth or development because he was just kind of going through the motions as Peter, but like there was no growth. And Peter, more so than most characters, you need to see some type of growth in him,
Right.
But it's after that first Scorpion fight where you really see Peter begin to evolve.
Yeah.
So they did have that in here, to the show's credit. Anything you want to see in season 2?
Some cohesion.
Let's be realistic here.
I mean, I think they need to tighten it, right? Get an A plot and a B plot and flesh them both out and just roll with that, I think this whole, like, we're going to introduce this character and this character and this character and this character and, like, not being able to fully realize any of them, I think is the main thing that hurts this show. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It just wasn't anything spectacular. You know, it never.
Man. Because this.
Yes, I know. I got it.
Oh, you got it.
I am specifically using these adjectives, you know, because it's a Spider-Man.
Because it's Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
And he was also known as the Spectacular Spider-Man.
Right, yes.
You know,
yes.
And there's a bunch of comics that talk about, you know, they're called Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I got it. I think if they could pull off what I just talked about in season 2, I think that would be ultimate.
I feel like you're reaching now.
I was reaching before. What about you, man? What are you super hyped for season 2 of this?
Okay. Yeah, God damn it. Yeah, I want to see. I mean, they got to do something with the Lonnie stuff. So regardless if I want to see it or not, I mean, we got to get like Tombstone. And, you know, with that, I really want to see them actually spend time with Lonnie. Actually, they spent time with him in season 1, but actually spend time with him in season 2 doing proper character development.
Right.
And seeing him go from now a misguided youth to a full-blown supervillain, you know?
Yeah.
Like, bridge that gap for us and give us reasons to understand why he would do that.
Yeah, and not just like completely fabricated, arbitrary decisions.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, the man literally had everything, you know, that he could have wanted, you know, at that time in his life. And he was like, you know what, fuck it.
It was so contrived. I'm going to go hang out in this abandoned warehouse with no power.
Right. And go get burritos for these dudes.
In, like, the most dangerous part of town. Honestly, like, didn't it really feel like when they sent him on that run that, like, they knew that they were sending him into...
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they mentioned it when he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it makes it doubly fucked up. And also what's fucked up, I don't think he had enough food in those bags to feed everybody there.
No, like, there was a bag like this.
Yeah.
Like, I have personally bought more 5 layers than was in that bag. There was like 4 in there, tops.
Right. Tops. And then also, you know, like, they got to put their tortilla chips in there too, so it's for sure not enough food.
No, I think that place might have been some, like, Chipotle bullshit where you got to pay extra for the chips. They don't come with it.
See, this just goes to show that Big Donovan is broke as fuck, because, like, that gang, he can't even afford to buy.
And if he could, he would DoorDash this shit.
He would have DoorDashed it, yeah. So, fuck. Why would you join that gang, man? There's no perks.
Yeah. Come hang out at our gang, like, and you can hang out here and like play dominoes in the dark or whatever. Yeah. By candlelight.
You by candlelight.
With this 50-year-old motherfucker.
Yeah. There's like 2 cars between all of them.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Goddamn. Yeah, so I guess I want to see that play out.
Do you think Doc Ock's gonna be the main
villain? He could be. How long are they gonna take with like the Norman Osborn full heel turn? You know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's like the big thing that they got to be working towards.
Do you think they're working towards a Sinister Six angle where, like, Norman's going to get arrested and end up in the same block?
Oh, my gosh.
And then, like, the next person and then the next person.
Well, let's see. Well, they got Scorpion. They got Doc Ock. They got Rhino.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
They're going to put Vulture in there.
Yeah, they're going to get Vulture, Craven.
Yeah. And then Norman.
Yeah, Norman or Electro. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That is a decision they can make. You know, the thing about the Sinister Six is this. The only thing that ever stops them is plot. Because, like, the 6 of them wash a single Spider-Man. You know?
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need some explanation if they decide to go that route as to why Peter ain't dead.
Well, I mean, honestly, if they wanted to do the symbiote, that would be a way to do it. Like, he, like, adapts the symbiote because he thinks it's the only way he could beat them.
And that's the other thing, right? They technically did already introduce a symbiote,
Yeah.
So it is a thing already in this universe. And a part of it was left behind. We need to mention that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And Osborn captured it, right? Don't we see him with it in like a jar or something? Or am I making that up?
Nah, he did. He did get it. Yeah. And the symbiote has Pertinol in it, so like your character integrity is completely safe. Anything you do while you have the symbiote. So.
Next week, is that the last episode of Invincible season 3, or do we have more?
No. Well, no. I think 5 just came out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we have 6, 7, 8.
Okay, there's 8 total. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we got some time before we
got 3 left. So we will be probably balls deep into Andor season 1 and Born Again by then.
Yep. Yeah. So we got some shit to do.
Yeah, we do.
Yep.
I got to rewatch Andor.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm gonna warn you, man. The first 2 episodes of the show, they are slow. It's like heavy, like political intrigue and setup.
Okay.
But like at the end of the 3rd episode, I want you to then tell me if you think like we need to review 1 through 3, or if you think we could pack 3 more episodes in there. I feel like it's gonna be the latter. But the 3rd episode is amazing. Like, it is tremendous. So, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got anything else on... well, I guess we should score this thing before we get out of here.
Yeah, let's score it up, man. You want to go first?
Sure. This show did have some upside to it, and it had also a lot of things going against it. I thought that this show ended up being a lot better than I was anticipating, and it ended up doing some things really well. I like that this is kind of a different look at Peter from a certain perspective. We get to see him hang out with different people. Some are familiar, some aren't. We get to see this kind of unique animation style that at first I didn't take to, but by the end of it, I was digging it. There are some very cool fight scenes in this. As the homie Caleb said, most of the comedy does actually land in this, which is a big thing. The one plus side to them having so many characters in this show is that it does make this version of Marvel New York feel very lived in and just deep.
Yeah.
This show, however, does have some downsides to it. At times, it doesn't feel like it really knows exactly what it wants to do. At times, it doesn't know if it wants to be more serious or if it wants to take itself so lighthearted and jovial. It has a hard time really picking a lane, but I do understand that it wants to adapt to whatever the situation calls for, and I respect that. I think that they need to have a tighter plot also to mirror what you just said. The second season is going to need to be much more tight and concise and just really be more focused to know exactly what they want to do. And also, instead of having maybe 12 characters to look at, cut it down to 4 and really focus on them and give them a lot to do and a lot of depth. And I think you'll get more with less. But at the end of the day, man, I had a fun time with this show. Nothing to really take too seriously. Overall, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Get out of my brain. That's exactly what I thought about. We always talk about how like the 7 is the safe score because the 7 is just so non-offensive, but it also is like I didn't really love it either.
Right.
But I gotta go with it, man. I can't rank it any higher than that. I debated about a 6.5, but I'm getting a reputation around here for being the grumpy old asshole. So. Except for with Brave New World, I gave that higher than the whole panel.
You did.
So, and I definitely enjoyed that more than this. I really agree with pretty much everything you said here. I mean, I want a more concise season 2. I thought some of the action here was really inspired and awesome, amazing, if you will. But also some of it was bottom dollar, late stage CW Arrowverse. You know, when you have, we talk about this a lot, right? Where the superhero space is so populous now that you cannot phone it in. It's honestly the worst thing you can do. And somehow, even with all the different things that this show did from what we kind of, it's kind of established Spider-Man lore, it feels so damn normal. It just, somehow it's like we gave you something completely different, and yet we made you feel like you've seen it before.
That's talent.
Yeah. It's really awful, right? Like, I mean, I've never praised The Last Jedi on this show, but at least when they like just completely fucked me in front of like 50 other nerds, like I knew that I was experiencing something brand new. I hated it, but it was brand new. This was like, we're going to change these things up, but then somehow just slot everything into an existing trope. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like everyone just gave the next person over their hat, and that was different. Right. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Obviously there were some great performances here, like Norman, Tombstone, and Peter, I think, are the best performances. And
Otto Octavius.
No. Otto is a fucking Power Rangers villain. At best. He's more like a Big Bad Beetleborgs villain.
Oh, no.
Because honestly, man, like Goldar is like got way more going on than Otto does here.
Fucking Goldar. Oh, no.
I wish I was lying. I wish I was just hating, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And so like for instance, the fact that they went with Peter and Nico and Harry here, you just somehow that just feels like a shitty version of Peter, Ned, and MJ, which is what we've all come to know and love. Yep. And so it's just like, hey, we just gave you just the Temu version of this, And I don't hate Nico's character, and I actually really like Harry in this, but both of them, they have them make very stupid, plot centric, contrived decisions. Tombstone is the same way. Yeah. You want to like Lonnie, but he continuously makes terrible choices. Yeah. We want to care about Pearl, but like the fact that Peter Parker probably had his first orgasm, like beating it off to her, is literally the only thing that the show gives her to contribute. Other than that, she's just a tropey, like girlfriend figure, Yeah,
her character is that she's worried about her boyfriend.
Right. Yeah, and the boyfriend don't give a fuck what she's trying to say. It's right. Very, very TV tropey.
It is.
So yeah, man, I have to stick with you. I gotta say it's a 7 for me. I liked most of it. What I didn't like, I just kind of rolled my eyes at. Maybe this wasn't meant to be super serious, but when you have a superhero animation world where we have an X-Men 97, where we have a Invincible, even the first season of What If, and then you just throw something like this in there, it feels, it feels unrefined and phoned in. Yep. And that's why I earned that 7. So there you have it.
Yeah, there you have it, folks. I know a lot of you out there really enjoyed this show, And hopefully it didn't sound like we just shat on it. We just gave our honest opinion. For those of you watching, it looks like Junior really enjoyed it. So,
yeah.
you know.
But listen, there's vodka in both of those bottles.
Again?
Not again. Like, it's the only thing that's ever in it.
The committee specifically told us to make sure there were no alcohol in his bottles.
Yeah, but that's the only thing he wants in there. And that's why he always looks like he's enjoying whatever we're reviewing.
Well, shit. We'll handle that off mic. Well, homies, we hope you guys enjoyed this review and breakdown of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which we started off this episode by saying that Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man could be a crack dealer. We don't know.
We're pretty sure this one isn't.
Yeah, we're pretty sure he's not.
But if Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a crack dealer, I hope he's in a better gang than the 110th.
God damn it. Well, homies, the next time we talk to you guys, we will be reviewing the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again.
Folks, I'm going to go ahead and warn everyone. There's only 2 modes we're going to be in for that. We're either going to be real happy or real sad. Right. There's no in between.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but if we're going to be real sad, I'm going to find a way to put Junior's hands down.
Yeah, if I have to break them off.
Okay. Son of a bitch. All right. Well, homies, that's going to be all for now. We will see you guys again very soon with tons of content, and it's going to be a blast. So we look forward to seeing you. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.